Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. The image of the Black Nazarene continues to inch its way to Quiapo Church amid a sea of devotees. Hundreds of thousands of people turned up to join the yearly procession, which began at dawn today. Let's first get an update from Francis Polve, who is at Plaza Miranda. Francis, kamusta? What time do we expect the image of the Black Nazarene to reach the church?
Yes, Pinky, the Curious or the Andas is expected to return here to Quiapo Church between 10 p.m. tonight and 12 midnight. At past 7 p.m. Pinky, the Andas was still at Plaza del Carmen in Hidalgo Street where the traditional dunga was held. From Hidalgo Street, the procession will proceed to Bilibid Viejo and then to JP Guzman Street, returning to Hidalgo Street, exiting to Quezon Boulevard. From there, it will return right onto Palanca Street, cross Quezon Bridge, and finally turn right onto Villalobos Street, heading to Plaza Miranda where we are and to the entrance of the church. According to Quiapo Church Parochial Vicar Father Robert Arellano, the pace of the Andas is naturally slower along narrow streets, especially with the large number of devotees. Father Arellano also mentioned that managing millions of devotees, all eager to touch the image of the Black Nazarene, remains a challenge despite repeated reminders from the church to refrain from doing so to avoid injuries. More than 400 individuals sustained minor injuries and were treated at medical booths stationed along the entire route of the traslación, including here at the Quiapo Church. The crowd here continues to grow as they anticipate the conclusion of this year's traslación. According to the Multi-Agency Coordinating Center, as of 6 p.m. tonight, the crowd that joined the feast reached 713,600 and the number continued to increase. For the devotees, the exhaustion and hardship are nothing compared to the miracles and blessings they receive from the Black Nazarene. The police here in Plaza Miranda has also increased along with the presence of the Hijos de Nazarenos. It is also a signal that the procession will soon arrive here at the church. And that's the latest here, Pinky.
Thanks a lot for the update, Francis Polve, reporting to us live from Manila. Thank you. Complainants in all three impeachment complaints against Vice President Sara Duterte have banded together to push the House of Representatives to act. They believe there's still time to impeach the VP and compel the Senate to put Duterte on trial. They also believe reports of a fourth impeachment complaint and the results of a recent survey prove dissatisfaction with the VP has grown. Let's get on point with Bayan Secretary General and former Congressman Teddy Casiño, and later we will be joined by former Gabriela Representative Liza Maza. Congressman.
Hi, Pinky.
Hi, Teddy. Kamusta?
Good evening.
Maraming salamat
Mabuti.
for coming to the studio.
Thanks for inviting me. It's my first time here.
No, very welcome. I'm happy to see you. So you guys all met, all representatives, endorsers, complainants of the three impeachment complaints met yesterday. What was the need to come together and meet?
Well, because the House has still refused to act on our complaints, and we felt that we had to meet to discuss how to push the House leadership into acting on our complaints. Kasi last year pa yun eh. And well, the session is supposed to start this Monday, and we felt that we had to meet to plan out what to do starting next week when session resumes.
So it being a Thursday today, ano na mga plano ninyo?
Simple lang, next week we will have a joint press conference and a joint statement expressing our demands to the House leadership. And then there will be mass actions the following week. Initially, there are already 4 planned mass actions. There's a group scheduling a rally on January 18, another on January 25. The youth groups want to have their own protest action on January 27, and then a multi-sectoral action on January 31. So we want to build that momentum, really to show the House that this is the people's clamor and they are duty-bound to act on these complaints.
But next week, when Congress resumes, that's January 13, okay? And then the planned mass actions are 18, 25, 27, 31. That's, 1 week to 2 weeks after Congress resumes session. Why the wait?
Well, you have to prepare for these kinds of activities. It's not something that you do overnight. But the session will be until February 7, and that's when they have a break for the elections. So we feel that we hope that to build that momentum, and hopefully by the end of, before they adjourn for the break, we're asking that they act on the complaints.
I guess that's why I was asking 18, 25, 27, 31, and then they end session on Feb 7, or they adjourn, on Feb 7. Parang there's not a lot of time being given to them, considering if they even listen to, number one, you said, your demands and these protest actions.
Well, if you look at it, as is, it seems like a short time, but we should remember that the issues being discussed in the impeachment complaint have been
last year pa to.
Discussed by the House for several months already. Yung Committee on Good Government has held 11 or 12 hearings. Then there was the budget deliberations of 2023 and 2024 that basically the same issues were being discussed. So these are familiar things already for the House. It's just a matter of finally making a decision.
So why do you think it is when some congressmen are asked, will you support the impeachment complaint, that the answer I've heard so far was they still need to study it?
That's a standard answer. If you don't want to answer, that's a standard answer. But it's really a political process. And, knowing how the House works, malaking factor dyan ang tingin ng executive, the administration. So I think they're also waiting for a strong signal from the president for them to do their job.
Okay.
And you know that the president is now, from his earlier position that...
It's a waste of time.
No, before that, ang position niya may mananagot and came out strong. This was after Vice President Duterte threatened to kill him and this wife, First Lady and the Speaker. But a few days later...
Papalagan ko ito.
Papalagan
ko.
Yun
ang sinabi niya.
Right.
Okay.
But a few days after that, apparently, he sent a text message to some members of the House that it's a waste of time, wag na. At doon medyo, that doused cold water on the impeachment. And so, yun siguro ang kailangan pa nila resolve. I think as far as the House members are concerned, they know that these are impeachable acts. They know that the evidence is there. In fact, they were the ones who gathered the evidence.
They unearthed it.
So I guess the buck stops with the president. If the president says, go ahead, hindi naman niya kailangan sabihin, impeach nyo na yan eh. The president just said, just go ahead, go through the process, and if, be objective. Kahit yun lang siguro sabihin ng presidente, a-actionan niya ng House.
Okay, let's also bring into the discussion former Gabriela Representative Liza Maza. Congresswoman Liza, good evening to you. Welcome to the Billionario News Channel. Thank you for your time.
Yes, good evening, Pinky. Good evening also to Teddy.
Yeah. So, ma'am, we were talking about, the three impeachment complaints at ano ba ang nangyayari. What are your thoughts after that meeting together with the rest of the members, and representatives of the two other impeachment complaints? I mean, how can this actually really move forward, aside from what Teddy was saying, that you will demand that Congress look into the impeachment complaints and the protest actions on several days in January?
Well, the meeting was really very, very good. It was very positive because the complainants, the signatories of the three impeachment complaints, were very much on the same mind that we should act together and coordinate our efforts and gather as many supporters as we can, because these are representatives. The complainants are representatives as well of many organizations. So we were counting, there were about 111 individuals and organizations that signed on to the three complaints. And behind them, maybe thousands more, because they are leaders of alliances, coalitions, etc. So, and I think also that with regard to the latest survey of the SWS, wherein there is, a positive indication there that there are, many who are in favor of the impeachment. So these are signs that, the people are, on our side.
Kong,
And I'm very hopeful. Yeah.
Kong Lisa,
that,
of course, you're talking about the SWS survey, wherein this was commissioned by Stratbase. They have this yearly and quarterly survey with SWS and Pulse Asia. I spoke to Professor Manhit a while ago. Anyway, just for to add some context into this, 41% said they wanted the Vice President impeached, and there was an undecided of about 19%. No? And those who said they don't want her impeached was 35, was it? 35. So when you look at the 35, we don't want her impeached, and 41 that we want her impeached, hindi ho masyadong malayo yun, ah? Would you agree, Congresswoman Lisa?
Yeah, but considering that earlier on, Vice President Sara, had many supporters and saying that she should not be impeached. But with this survey, I think the tide is slowly turning, and there's still a sizable number of undecided. I think that we can convince, because the evidence is there, the basis is there, and so
Okay.
I think that the support for the impeachment complaint is
It's gaining ground. Do you
catching
believe
on.
that the tide is slowly turning?
Just to add to that, we should remember that the impeachment was only filed early December. The third complaint was filed December 19. So, ilang linggo pa lang, and you already have 41% of the population believing she should be impeached. I think that's very big, that's significant. And if you can imagine if this goes into trial, and the evidence is, really unearthed and discussed and debated.
But why do you say
this
that
will
when
most
you're the very
likely
person?
even get higher.
But why do you say that when you're the very person who said that these accusations are not new? In fact, during the 2023, sabi mo nga, budget, napag-usapan na po ito, yung confidential funds. So, parang my understanding from you was, kahit papano, nariyan na yan, maybe hindi so much sa isipan ng publiko, but it's been there. It's nothing new. Kumbaga, since 2023, nandun na po siya.
Yes, but it's not in the context of an impeachment trial. Kasi, remember, in previous impeachments, pag dumating sa Senado yan, iba ang public attention. This will really grab the attention of practically the whole population. This will be televised 24/7, discussed the whole time. So, yung attention na mapupunta dyan, and we feel that with the evidence we have, it's basically, cut and dried evidence, that 41% is just the base that will most likely increase as the trial will go on.
All right. But siguro we need to go on a break now. Just very quickly, Teddy. Ito bang naging hearing sa good government ng House, which is really the equivalent of the blue ribbon, di ba, sa Senado?
Yep.
Don't you think that it garnered a lot of attention already? Kasi if you're saying, syempre sa impeachment, marami talagang tututok dito. Palagay mo ba doon pa lang sa House, marami nang tumutok? Kasi marami na silang ipinalabas o in-unearth during that time?
Yes, I think so. Kaya nga may 41% yan eh. But I think hindi pa yan nasasagad. Marami pang lalabas dyan, marami pang detalyeng hindi na napag-usapan doon sa committee. Yung dalawang security aides ni Sara Duterte was not even allowed to testify.
They were not questioned. Yeah.
Right. So, baka mahanap pa si Mary Grace Piatos for all we know. So marami pang pwedeng lumabas.
We're going to pause for a bit. We'll have more of our discussion with Representative Casiño and Representative Maza after the break. Please stay tuned. This is On Point.
The latest news, national issues,
with regard to was very vocal about charter change.
the political scene, the trust and approval ratings of President Bongbong Marcos and Vice President Sara Duterte decline, and conversations with prominent personalities.
Brings back wonderful memories of past Christmases when I was a little boy in Iloilo.
Be timely informed, be insightful of the news. All these firsthand at the forefront.
The latest weather updates and forecast.
Could be another tropical cyclone heading towards us at the end of the year.
With information to help us understand important aspects about our climate.
Can you tell us a bit about the jobs that will actually be produced by this project, not just in the construction, but of course in the actual running of this farm?
Weather HQ.
Whatever the weather, only here on BNC, the Nazarene News Channel.
Welcome back. You're watching On Point. Still with us, former Representatives Teddy Casiño and Liza Maza. I'll start with Congresswoman Liza. Ma'am, what do you think of what is happening right now? There are 3 impeachment complaints. Nandun pa po kay Sec Gen, ano po. At sabi po ni Sec Gen, he's giving some congressmen some time and possibly magkaroon po ng 4th impeachment complaint. I guess my question is, tama ho bang nananatili kay Sec Gen itong 3 impeachment complaint, or dapat bang he forwarded this already?
Well, of course, kung kami gusto namin i-forward na yan, para kumbaga yung proseso ng impeachment maisulong na. But gusto ko lang din mag-raise ng point tungkol doon sa sinabi na ito namang mga impeachment complaint, yung mga batayan ng impeachment complaint, nandiyan na yan before eh. Ako tingin ko, bakit lumalaki o dumarami yung pumapabor ngayon sa impeachment complaint ay dahil na rin doon sa konteksto ngayon. Yung konteksto ngayon na tumataas ang presyo ng mga bilihin, yung mga tumataas ang sa survey again, tumataas ang bilang ng mga nagugutom o naghihirap. Ito yung konteksto na kung saan yung mga tao siguro nare-reflect nila, no? Na eto, naghihirap kami, and then eto, yung mga anomalya. No? Kaya I think that is important to grasp yung context ngayon, na ganitong matinding paghihirap na narito yung ating mga corrupt politicians, at ito ngayon na gusto nating impeach si Vice President Sara Duterte na involved sa mga anomalya. So sa palagay ko, habang nagiging ganyan at lumalala yung context ng kahirapan, mas lalong napapatimo sa mamamayan kung gaano kaimportante na dapat wakasan itong ganitong mga anomalya.
So it affects them more, basically you're saying, Liza, dahil sa hirap ng buhay na kanilang pinagdaraanan ngayon sa taas ng presyo ng. Okay. All right. I want to go. Okay, I want to just go back to the Sec Gen, because para po sa akin, to be honest, palaisipan pa rin, bakit nandun ba kay Sec Gen yung 3 impeachment complaint? Ano ba dapat ang proseso? You were both in Congress. I don't know, nakaabot pa kayo ng impeachment complaint noon kay, was it ERAP?
No, GMA.
GMA, okay.
At the time.
Is there...
But I was also involved in the ERAP impeachment as a complainant before.
As a complainant, okay. But are you questioning why it's still with the Sec Gen, or are you okay with that?
Yes, definitely. I think this is the first first time that nasa section siya na matagal. In the past, when you submit it to the section, it's just a matter of hours or days. Pinapasa na yan sa Speaker of the House. And then the Speaker will have it calendared in the Committee on Rules. And then Rules has 10 days to pass it on the Committee on Justice. No, the Speaker has 10 days to give it to the Rules. And then the Rules will have 3 days to give it to the Committee on Justice. Kaya nagtataka kami bakit tumatagal ito sa Secretary General. Ang sabi niya, meron pa daw inaantay na at first a third complaint.
Which happened.
And now may fourth complaint naman. But you know,
But
as far as we are concerned...
Is it important that you have to wait
No,
for a complaint? Can't you just forward one complaint after another?
Well, because the reckoning of the when the impeachment is deemed initiated will be when the Speaker refers it to the plenary, to the Committee on Rules. And so in order to avoid na hindi umandar yung metro, hinuhold nila sa Secretary General kasi hindi pa tumatakbo ang metro.
At pag tumakbo ang metro,
Well, the Speaker will now have 10 days, Committee on
yun na.
Justice 3
He
days.
has to adhere.
And then Congress has 60 session days to do it.
I see.
So apparently, ayaw pa nilang simulan yung countdown. Because, you know, there's no...
Dahil ano?
Yung fourth complaint, I think, ano pa bang maidadagdag niyan sa na hindi pa na-cover ng 3 earlier complaints? So as I said, you know, the dynamics in the House is that nothing this big ever happens in the House without the say-so of the executive. That's the reality that
Which is what you were saying a while ago.
we have to contend with. So I think they're waiting for the president to make a decision. And bottom line, this puts into question not only the resolve of the House to hold the Vice President accountable, essentially, it also is a reflection of how the President himself refuses to make Vice President Duterte accountable for what is obviously a violation of the Constitution, a betrayal of public trust, graft and corruption, and all the other grounds that have been raised against her.
Kong Lisa, what about you? Do you agree with Teddy that it is, they're just really waiting for the President's say-so?
Well, definitely, realpolitik yan no? So, at the end of the day, yung ano dyan, yung majority, yung dominant power would make the move, no, the decisive move. Kaya ang sinasabi naman namin, hindi dapat tayo hindi tayo dapat naiipit sa ganong klaseng politika. Sapagkat lalo na kami, no, yung nagaling sa mga people's organizations, sanay talaga kami na kung ano yung tama, yun yung i-assert namin. Kaya mahirap kasi yung pati kami nasa subject sa politika, no, ng iba't ibang, malalaking powers dyan. Kaya naman, aside from appealing to the Congress people, no, ay malaki rin talaga yung ginagawa namin ngayon na mag-mobilize at mag-energize noong constituents for impeachment. And that's what we're going to do and we're doing right now.
Mobilize
Yes.
and energize. Yun po yung inyong sinabi. Let's talk about the fourth impeachment. Lisa, do you think there is really a fourth impeachment? O siguro sabihin ko na dribble lang ho ba ito?
Well, of course, hindi ko masasabing wala, no? Pero for sure, medyo na yan, nakaporma na yan. Ibig sabihin, maybe may game plan at kasama yon, no? Pero kung meron mang fourth impeachment complaint, and of course, because it is impeachment also, no, pro-impeachment, then it is a positive addition to the 3 impeachment complaints.
What about you? Do you really think there is a fourth one?
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a fourth one. But, you know, hindi naman tayo pwede mag-antay forever for the fourth impeachment complaint. Because there's little time. Congress will be we'll start session on Monday and we'll be adjourning on February 7. So the longer the complaints are not sent to the Committee on Justice, the longer the process of accountability will take.
Parang
And that's
4 weeks na lang yun.
Yun na nga eh.
Yeah.
So, ang sabi ko nga, ano pa bang idadagdag ng fourth complaint? I mean, the second should act.
Okay.
Anyway, kung dadaan pa naman sa Committee on Justice dyan, marami pang pwedeng gawin ang administration. They are not bound by a fourth
Okay,
complaint.
so here's the question. Is there anything that the endorsers, complainants can do to compel the SecGen to already bring this to the office of the Speaker? Meron ho bang pwedeng gawin kayo under the law?
Well, we will have to insist, and then probably ang SecGen naman susunod yan sa leadership of the House. So at the end of the day, it's really a decision of the House, and you know that the House is heavily influenced by the executive. So at the end of the day, this is a reflection of the leadership of President Marcos. And if President Marcos really wants accountability and wants to uphold the constitutional provision on the accountability of public officers, then he should allow Congress to act on this immediately. Kahit dun lang sabihin lang niya, sige, i-go nyo na yan, anuman ang magiging decision niya yan, that's a reflection of his kind of leadership. The more that he dilly-dallies, the more it appears that he is not really serious in holding people accountable in his administration. And that will be a bad reflection on his kind of leadership.
If the President is supposedly, according to Teddy, dilly-dallying, Kong Liza, what should be done?
At sa palagay ko, kung sa Monday, sa start of the resumption of Congress, hindi pa yan ma-file, malaking question na yon, kung seryoso pa talaga na isulong ng mayorya o ng leadership ng House itong impeachment complaint.
Meron kang you have a timeline in your mind, in your head na kapag next week.
Yes, next week will be very crucial, no? Well, at the end of the day, huhusgahan naman lahat, no? Kasi malapit na rin ang eleksyon, di ba? Yeah. Sa May. Huhusgahan lahat kung anong maging action natin sa impeachment complaint na to, kung sino nga ba ang dapat na iboto ng mamamayan. Yun bang pumapabor doon sa paglilinis at pagwawasto ng ating paggogobyerno? O yung mananatili na bingi, bulag, at pipi doon sa issue ng korupsyon sa ating bayan?
Last words, Kong Teddy.
This is a very, para sa akin, do you call it a catch-22 situation? Si President Marcos, if he does not allow Congress to act on this impeachment at makakalusot sa kanyang ginawang mga pagkakamali si Vice President Duterte, that will actually strengthen the hand of the Dutertes. And that will also be, not in the interest of Marcos and Romualdez. And the people will also, mas mafo-fortify ang tingin ng taong bayan na itong liderato ni Pangulong Marcos talagang walang spine at hindi seryoso, walang competence sa paggogobyerno. So I think obligado ang administrasyon to follow what is in the law. That once an impeachment complaint is filed, Congress acts on it within 60 days, wag na i-dribble yan. And then, husgahan na lang natin kung ano magiging desisyon ng Kongreso, ano magiging desisyon ng Senado. But for Congress and the President to dilly-dally will be bad for them. And I think will be bad for the country in general. And it will strengthen the hand of the other faction. Pero sila rin lang naman naglalabanan yan. I think the people should really stand its ground. And palalakasin pa namin yung clamor para sa impeachment. This is not just about Vice President Duterte. This is really about holding the highest officials of our land accountable to their wrongdoings. And that is, I think, the basic issue here.
Former Congressman Teddy Casiño and former Congresswoman Liza Maza, to you both, thank you so much for your time. Maraming salamat po. And that's On Point. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.